find that the biggest hurdle parents have with serving food in general is time. They feel like, well, I don't have enough time. I just like have to do this. If they serve the food to themselves or to other people, it's going to make a mess. It's going to take more time. And I don't have resources or mental capacity to deal with either of those problems. So we have to fix that.
Are mealtimes a serious struggle? Does your child eat a limited number of foods? Does your child eliminate entire food groups? Are you tired of waiting for them to just grow out of it? Welcome to How to Unpicky Your Picky Eater, where you'll learn strategies to help your picky eater expand their palate. With Christine Marati-Yoder, a pediatric feeding specialist, speech pathologist, mom of a child with feeding issues, and author of Mealtime Mindset. Let's get started. Here's Christine.
All right. Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us. It is July here while I am filming. And, for me, my memories of summer are all like, it's time for fun to begin. It's my favorite season. And so I thought maybe this month's theme should be fun and how to like bring fun into food when it is totally stressing everybody out and no one is enjoying it, right? So we have to, if we want to shift mindset, we have to start thinking about ways to make food a positive thing, and fun is a great way to make things positive, right? So each week we'll talk a little bit about different aspects or different topics within that, how to make food fun. Um, my goal here is to help make food and mealtimes fun and stress-free, as you know. While using food as a tool to help get in as much nutritional value as we possibly can. As we know, a lot of our picky eaters are deficient in many nutrients. So that is our goal of the podcast if you are new to the podcast. So today we're going to be talking about fun ways to actually serve food. And you might be like, oh, like I know how to serve food, but hear me out. We're going to talk about like fun ways that so kids love to be helpers. So when kids feel important and they're being helpful, it does help engage them in things that maybe traditionally were hard or not fun for them. So by thinking of fun and creative ways we can serve food or have them serve food, we're opening them up to engaging with the food, which is one of the first steps in our general hierarchy of feeding and how we go with that. So sometimes parents kind of walk me through what a typical mealtime looks like, and a totally absent missing piece is the kids serving food. So I do feel like this is an important thing to go over because I don't really want it missing from your routines. It should definitely be a part of it. Now, I find that the biggest hurdle parents have with serving food in general is time. They feel like, well, I don't have enough time. I just like have to do this. If they serve the food to themselves or to other people, it's going to make a mess. It's going to take more time. And I don't have resources or mental capacity to deal with either of those problems. So we have to fix that, of course, right? And so that's what I'm here for. So the first thing I want you to do is shift your mindset from, I don't have enough time and this is going to be too messy, to, I have plenty of time and this is going to be fun and easy. So what happens when we actually say those negative things, right? We say, I don't have enough time. I don't have enough time. Well, things will keep presenting themselves to you to make you not have enough time. So even if you just start out, just shifting that one thought, and you don't have to even believe it necessarily, not right away. But I think you'll find over time is if you start correcting this thought that you have about not having enough time, you will actually start to feel like you have more time. I've tried this on myself. and it does work. And I am someone who is, if anyone knows me personally, I am probably the busiest person that people know. They're always asking me, Christine, how do you have time to do everything? How do you have time to do that? You're starting something new. How did you have time to do that? You already are doing this whole list of things. And what I say is, yeah, I have time. I have plenty of time. Right? Because that's what I've brainwashed myself to think, that there is plenty of time. And somehow magically it all gets done. So I want you to start switching this thought. So every time you have that thought, oh, I'm not going to have time for this, just pause and say, okay, I know I'm not supposed to think that. So instead, I'm going to forgive that thought and I'm going to say, instead, like, I know that that's not true. Actually, that's an important part. You should actually say, I know that's not true. So instead, I believe, or I'm working on believing, right? You don't have to believe it right away, but we can say I'm working on believing that I have plenty of time and everything is working out for me. You can apply the same exact thing to the mess scenario. Why do people not like messes? Well, one is because it takes more time to clean that mess up. So again, goes back to time. And two, some people just really hate messes. They just truly want everything to be clean. But it's easy to clean things. And actually, teaching kids to clean up messes is a great life skill. And kids like being helpful in that way. Yes, it does take more time for them to actually help you clean that mess. But I think you'll find every time you switch your thoughts to, I know that's not true. I know there's plenty of time and everything is working out in the exact way that it's supposed to. The more you just switch that one thought and over again, you will start to see big changes in your life, big positive changes in the amount of time that you feel like you have. Hopefully, you're not going to feel like you're rushing through things and that there's plenty of time. Honestly, I am now at a place where even though I am a busy person, I find myself often saying, wow, I have so much time. Like, I don't even know what to do first because, I'm not used to having free time. So it was never something that was part of my vocabulary before. Okay, I feel like we've gotten a little off topic from serving food, but I really felt like that was super important to say. And I pretty much just roll with whatever I feel like I need to say. So there we go. Now, as far as fun with serving food, so there's a lot of fun ways to do this. And I am a big gadget person. I love Amazon. I love, finding cool new fun stuff and trying it out. So some of these, do I have all of these? I think I have done all of these at one point. But the first one I'll say that's an easy one is just easy at home. You have this already, I'm sure. Spatulas and tongs. Just like something that you could use to literally like lift food up and move it to another plate or location. And they do make mini ones of these. They don't have to use a large one, but I think you'll find that most kids want to use the one that you are using. So even if you had a choice between a big one and a small one, they're probably going to choose the big one anyway. So I would say you definitely don't have to buy a small version of those if you don't have them already. Um, I will say the smaller tongs are much easier for kids to use. But when I tell you, like, you can get them at the dollar store for $1 or less, but they're super, super easy to find and cheap. So really, and I usually get the silicone spatulas. I don't get plastic ones because I don't like, that's a whole different topic and course, but I don't like plastic for anything that is exposed to hot because it changes the chemical composition of the plastic and the plastic toxins could leach into the food or whatever. Okay. So anyway, story for a different day, right? Another fun passion of mine, right? So, just having them move food from one plate to another plate, giving them some of that ownership is really important, and it could be fun. Like we can make that fun. I've had my son like move stuff, from a bowl and onto a sheet, or from a sheet onto into a bowl, or from the big plate in the middle to his little plate. Right? There's like a million ways that you can work on serving this food or moving it around. But those are some fun, easy ones that you probably have. Another one you probably have at home already is toothpicks. So putting little toothpicks into small pieces of food, right? It could be like a whole plate where each, instead of them having to pick up food with their fingers, right? This is especially great and makes it much more fun for kids who don't like touching food is to have a toothpick because then you could just take the toothpick, pop it in your mouth, and put the toothpick down. And then you can even like build stuff out of the toothpicks when you're done. You can make a little tower or, you could get creative and build like a little, think like Lincoln log type house where they're just like kind of like resting, atop of one another. Or those blocks, those Kiva blocks. I'm honestly not sure what they're called. I don't have them, but they're those like blocks and they all look like exactly the same. They're all like very thin pieces and they create like these crazy towers and stuff out of them. I don't know. I see it on Instagram sometimes. But anyway, okay, so we talked about tongs, spatulas, toothpicks. You can do a mini serving. So, think mini cookie cutters. You can even do mini cookie cutters with toothpicks, right? So, cutting, if you have a sandwich instead of a normal sandwich, you can cut out the cookie cutter and then put the toothpick in and make it like a mini version of what they already have. Now, if you say to yourself right now, Christine, like, why would I change a food that they already like? Like, how is that going to help them? Okay, well, we'll stop right now because that's super important. We want to make them more flexible. So, a great way to make kids more flexible is by changing foods slightly. By, it could be the shape, right? So, if it's normally in its normal square shape as a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, if you start cutting them into smaller shapes, that's different, right? Even though it's the same exact sandwich, might taste the same, but it will look different. And like I always say, every little baby step will build upon itself. So if they could be flexible with something that they already prefer, they might be more flexible with something that is new or not preferred yet. So starting with their preferred foods and changing it into a miniature portion of that food in some way, it doesn't have to be with a cookie cutter. It could be, I'll use scissors, like cooking shears, and I'll cut food like with the scissors and just cut them into smaller pieces. That's all it's not, it's the same food. I just cut them into small pieces, or you can cut them into different shapes. Like, think if they eat a plain flour tortilla, like that's actually what they're eating. There's nothing on it for lunch, or maybe they have a little bit of cheese on it. Whatever you do, whatever you want to do. But like I said, just changing the shape, you can actually cut out, like with the scissors, different shapes. You could even, if you wanted to cut out like something crazy, like you can probably even, use some sort of a cool, like decorative, like I guess would be like a cake decorating, sort of like a marker, and do it like an outline and cut along the outline. Things like that those are fun ways to get kids more flexible and switch up foods that they already have. So, if you have no idea where to start, I would definitely start with just taking a food they like and doing something to make it a little bit different. So mini portions, that's a good way to go. Using food as a bowl. So they actually make these already. There's bread bowls, of course, as you guys probably know. Like Panera I feel like has made bread bowls pretty famous. And there's like the chips that look like bowls that you can make. You could even do that, you can make your own bowls out of I don't think I've ever done it personally, but you could use like muffin tins and put like a tortilla in there, or sometimes people will like melt cheese, and like then when you take it out of that cup, it creates like a bowl, like when it's like baked. So creating your own bowls Kids might think that that is so fun, right? That's a fun way to serve things. Instead of serving it in a regular bowl, make it a mini bowl with your, muffin tin or cupcake tin, and create a bowl out of something. Even if it's their tortilla chip, right? If there's someone who eats chips, um, you could serve whatever they're having, in a chip bowl, right? So that's just something you could just buy at the store. They already sell those. Um, that's a fun way to present and serve food. Another fun way, which was my favorite way when I remember being in high school, and me and my friends would go to fondue night. And we would, uh, we'd order like a fondue tower or whatever, and they would put out different like foods. I think there you can do a chocolate or cheese one, and they even sell you can have your own fondue at home. They're not expensive. They're like mini ones. Basically, you like light a candle under, I guess it would be like a little, whatever, wherever it's going to hold it. And the candle kind of melts whatever it is, either it's the chocolate or cheese, and it melts, and then you could dip whatever you want in it. So if your kid has no trouble eating chocolate things, you can pair that with other things, right? Like fruits. And fruits is probably the best way to go with chocolate, but you can put a piece of cake, a blueberry, a strawberry, just put all different things. And you could just even experiment and be like a little scientist, like, oh, I wonder what happens when I dip the blue in the chocolate. Do you think it'll still look blue, or do you think it's going to turn it to brown? What do you think's going to happen? Um, I wonder what it would taste like if I dip this in chocolate. Do you think it would taste chocolatey? Do you think it would taste sweet? Just asking those like sort of more curious questions, but it's just like a fun way to serve. And again, that's like another thing on a stick, right? So it's not something they're touching. You could put it on a fork or a stick and have them dip that in the chocolate or the cheese. So with cheese, that would be better for vegetables, and chocolate would be better for fruits. I'm sure you can experiment and go crazy, do whatever you'd like. But I think those are some awesome, fun ways to just even explore and introduce some new foods while you can have fun too. Remember, you have to be kind of enjoying this at least a little bit to make them enjoy it. If they sense deep in their soul that you are miserable doing this, like you're going to have a really hard time convincing them to do it. So, if some of these things I'm saying sound like horror to you and you would never ever want to do this and it sounds terrible, don't do it. Do something that you think would be that would work for you, that you think you would enjoy or have fun with. And again, like, of course you can do fondue night at home, but if you're someone who's like, oh my God, like my house is going to be a mess, this is going to be a disaster, you can go out and do it. You just have to pay, of course, but you can go out. They do have fondue at various restaurants all over the country and the world, right? So you can go out and try fondue and see how it goes before you bring it into your house too, right? So if you're getting stuck, if you're like, oh, these things sound hard to me, think of something that's the least offensive. Start there and then think, okay, what can I do to make this something that I think would be fun? And just pause for a second and see what comes to you, because I bet there's a way to make any of these things fun and doable for you. It just might take a little bit of creativity and innovation. Um, and I have another few tips, but I do want to pause. I want to remind you that if you are getting a lot of value from this topic, you're finding it interesting, please, rate, review, and subscribe. And if you haven't already, please take the quiz on our website. We are going to be revamping the quiz. Right now, the quiz is, does your child need help with their feeding? But soon it's going to be how to determine which areas your child is struggling with in regards to feeding. So, we always talk about like oral motor, sensory, gut. There's like all of these different environment, different areas. So seeing like kind of their strengths and weaknesses, but it's not ready just yet. So right now you can take the quiz to see, and get an idea of, how much help does your child need? Like, depending on how many questions you answer yes or no, you're going to kind of get that idea pretty quickly. So that's a great quiz to take. And if you need more help, we do have free webinars on our website. Right now, they're still free. You can also get one-to-one help right now with our coaching, and we have courses and more courses coming up in the future, and very soon a free parent workshop, which I'm super excited to share. It's an hour and a half of free information. So that will be coming up very soon. It's not ready quite yet, but soon. Um, okay, so let's see. So another strategy is scoopers. I don't know if if you have an ice cream scooper or something that kind of looks like an ice cream scooper, but those are so much fun. I would always love serving, and I always wanted to be the one to do the scooping, but it doesn't have to just be for ice cream. It can be for other things as well. Um, we use our scooper way more for pancake mix than we do for ice cream. You can use it for, just even scooping anything. Like you could scoop a bowl of blueberries and then you could, have them do the press and release to, flip it over. It could really, you could be like very flexible with that. There's no like rules that you have to use the ice cream scooper for scooping. Really, you could think more globally about all of the tools in your kitchen. Like, yes, one might have a certain role, but you can use them for other things too. Another fun way is using a salad spinner. So kids love pressing that salad spinner button. So, you could put other foods in that salad spinner though. Does not have to just be salad. So you can have like a whole bunch of different maybe fruits or vegetables, maybe small pieces, and you spin it around and then like you open it and you have to just take one out and you know that's what you get, or whatever, or you scoop it from there. So those are some more ideas. Salad spinners are usually really big fan favorites for all of our kids. So we have one in the clinic. A lot of my therapists take them and they're part of their toolbox and their bag. So that's a fun one. The other one is a buffet. Okay, so this is our last one. So you know what a buffet is, right? So, but you might have never thought of having your child go through the buffet and helping them like select, like building their own whatever. It might be building their own burger, building their own taco, building their own sandwich, where there's like almost like little stations, like you're going to move them from, okay, well, this is the peanut butter station. And maybe there's like 3 different choices of peanut butter. There might be regular peanut butter that just is in a different jar that looks the same, or like peanut butter that has some chocolate mixed in, something unique, something crazy. Maybe there's a jelly station and there's different jellies. Maybe there's a bread station and they have a choice of breads, and it's a totally custom build your own. And then maybe when they're done, they have to choose what cookie cutter they want, and they're going to turn it into an animal, right? So those are so fun to do. And in the summertime, when kids are home from school and you have a little bit more time with them, it doesn't take a whole lot to set something like that up. But I feel like the lasting impacts of it are pretty great. So, that's something that kids will remember doing, like customizing their own. And even if they pick the exact same things that they would always pick, it's that exposure piece, right? We still want to keep exposing them to new things, right? So it's not like every day you have to set up the buffet. It's a special thing, right? One day of the week, and this is another common thing I hear from parents. I love all of your ideas. I have all of this great information, but I just have so much trouble figuring out how to like actually get it on my calendar and get it into my day, into my week, because the week goes by and I forget to do all of these great things. Okay, so here's my suggestion. Just however you keep track of other appointments and things. So maybe it's a paper planner or a Google Calendar, or maybe you just say, Siri, remind me, whatever it is, or Alexa, remind me. You can program it in. I would just say program it into some place, and just say, like, you know, on Monday, you just pick one, even if it's one thing a day. Like Monday, we're going to try you serving with toothpicks. On Tuesday, we're going to try serving with tongs. On Wednesday, we're going to do a buffet, right? So you can just pick one thing and just put it in your planner. So you see it, like there's your goals, alongside all of your other appointments and things you have to do. When it's in there, it seems very much like, okay, well, I have to check this off my list. Like we have to do this now. So keeping it as an item on your weekly planner, I think will definitely help you implement these. So I hope you enjoyed listening to the podcast today. Thanks so much. Have a good day.
Thank you for listening to How to Unpicky Your Picky Eater. To learn more about achieving your child's feeding goals, check out Christine's website at foodologyfeeding.com. And be sure to tune in next time to How to Unpicky Your Picky Eater.